Hi, my name's Hemingway Jones. Welcome to the channel. I make videos about fountain pens, inks, journals, and journaling for curious people like you. Welcome. So today I want to have a conversation with you about pen cases and more specifically the Lochby Quattro pen case. Now there's some important things I want to cover here, not the least of which is that Lochby gave me this pen case and I can do whatever I want, but they have absolutely no editorial control. Now that's true, but there's also something else I want to mention, and that's I don't care if you buy this pen case. I don't care if you buy anything I talk about on this channel. For me, it's all about the narrative. It's all about the story that this item conveys. My product, if I have one, to you, are these videos. And I want you to enjoy them, and I hope you learn something from them. So, with the Lochby Quattro pen case, I found some features that I really like. I like that it's floppy, and I can easily stow 4 pens away. Now, this came in handy when I was traveling. I recently took a road trip to Washington, D.C. for the DC Pen Super Show. It was a complete blast. And I was also filming with 2 Pelican fountain pens, the M800 and the M1000. So I brought those along, and I was journaling with my Montblanc 147 in burgundy. That's also called a traveler, so it was perfect to take along with me. And I brought along an Omas Bologna, which is a beautiful pen that I've become quite attached to, and I enjoy writing with it. So I thought these 4 pens were significant enough for a week away, and they were in many ways. And come to think of it, I also had a Lamy Safari with me because you have to. So what ends up happening with me in pen cases are that I generally use them every day when I bring a pen to the office, and that's usually 1 pen, because I don't want to slide a single pen into the pen holder on my bag because it could be damaged. I shove a lot of things into my bag. You may have seen my EDC video, and I went through them all. So I don't want anything to happen to my pens just simply being in the bag, unprotected. So then I obsess personally over what is the best solution for bringing a single pen back and forth to the office. And I often take this very cheap pen case that a dear friend gave me and I have a little bit of sentimental attachment to, but it only holds a single pen. But what it does have is a bit of crushability. It can be sort of squeezed a little, yet it still provides a decent amount of protection. And I think that's important. And I think there's a couple of different types of protection here we need to consider. One is structural. And that is, if you were to put this pen case and then pile a significant amount of weight on it, is it going to keep your pen from being crushed? Now, there are very few pen cases where the answer would be yes. Esterbrook makes some that can support a fair amount of weight, even for 1 pen. They have some interesting latches and things. Pen sleeves with a bit of rigidity would help a bit, but it's sort of the little boxes, I think, that could handle that experiment. But I do think that's probably too high of a standard to set for a pen case, because you really should, and by you I mean me, take better care of your pen and not squish it in that way. You really want it for the casual crunches and when you're wedging it in with a lot of different items. So with that in mind, some of my favorites are the Montblanc Egyptomania case that Terry Egginton gave me. Thank you very much, Terry. That case is absolutely brilliant. It has this beautiful zipper and it matches the pen perfectly. I quite like it. But even that has a drawback in that you have to be careful about the zipper, that you don't scratch your pen. So any zippered pen case, including the Lochby Quattro, has this issue where the zipper is there and you can pull it and scratch your pen after repeated ins and outs with your pen case. So consider that. I think it's pretty important. But you do learn to put your thumb in the way or bend it down or whatever technique you use, and it works nicely, I think. So as you carry your pens around in these single pen cases, Conway Stewart has one where a smaller sheath of leather fits into a larger one and it pulls out. And of course, there's various pen sleeves. They are all fine, but there are times when you want to bring more than one pen and you want to have it on your person. In the old days when I wore a lot of jackets to the office, I used to just put it in my lapel pocket. And for years, my Montblanc lived fine there and never had an issue, except for casual scratches, as you know. So when you are carrying a bunch of pens, as I was in DC, it is nice to have something that's collapsible enough to slip it into your pocket. And the one thing I really liked about this Lochby Quattro was that it would fit 4 pens and I could slide it into my back pocket, and I almost forgot it was there. Now, there is a bit of a danger in that too. And that is, I probably could have sat on about, $3,000 worth of pens and squished them and had an inky bottom if I wasn't careful. But I didn't. But they were there, and it was seamless, and it was enjoyable. It was unobtrusive is probably the right word. And that was when I went to Lincoln Memorial, when I was at the National Gallery of Art. I had them within reach, and they were always with me. So peace of mind and easy stowing. But it doesn't have super rigidity. So it's good for protecting from scratches, but not necessarily for crunching and crushing. So keep that in mind. Now, one thing I noticed when I first got it, I thought it was a little short. I wished it had a few more millimeters on it, and to be honest, maybe they could, even now. If you're putting something like a Mag 600 in there, it is a little tight. At first, I thought the M1000 was pretty tight, but after a while, I think it stretched a bit, and it was able to cover it. Now, the materials involved here, it's a waxed canvas, which is a very nice outer covering. It's going to give you some water resistance. It's certainly, you can't immerse it, but if you spill a glass of Pepsi on it or something, you should be able to wipe it off, hopefully. The inside is, I suppose it's ballistic nylon, or certainly a type of nylon, which gives it a little bit of lightness, which is very well designed. You want that balance between weight and structure. It'll certainly keep your pens in place, and it's designed when you zip it to be staggered, so they're not rubbing up against each other. But one tip, and I think it's an important tip, I would say, is don't put them with the clips on the outside. I think we sometimes, I'm speaking generally, we like to slide our pens into pen cases with the clip on the outside. It certainly makes it easier to grab them and slide them out. But then that clip is sort of vulnerable to scratching, and some clips are really pretty, like pelican clips. You wouldn't want a pelican clip getting all marred. So just tuck all that right in, and if you want to pull it out, you can reach in, pull it out, or push it from the bottom. It's really not an issue, but keep that in mind. So, as a pen case, this one works very, very well. It's flexible, it's tough enough, but I think on the downside, it's the crunch factor that's bad. And also, I'll admit, when I take it to work, it's a lot more matter than I need in my bag for a single pen. So a 2-pen version would probably be ideal. I do like the aesthetic. I like the whole expedition aspect of these holders. And I think they're really nice in how they fit in with your life and your lifestyle. Now, some of my other pen cases, I think of them more as storage cases, because for me, carrying them around, they add too much weight. And they're sometimes like little puzzle boxes that I have to solve. And that can be quite charming at home. But when you're out and you're at work and you're taking it out, you just don't want to think about it too much. Unzipping and pushing something out is easy. So I guess my recommendation on the Lochby Quattro might be strange a little. It's sort of like this, I think. It's the best fountain pen case I've found so far, beside this Montblanc one, which is a bit more expensive. So, is that a glowing recommendation? I think it's a decent recommendation. It certainly works for me. If it works for you, fantastic. I'm introducing it to you. I think it's well made and a decent offering. So it goes for $39 with $6 for shipping. Is that a decent value for you? You have to decide that for yourself. Certainly some pen insurance in regards to protection is important, but whether or not there's some other design that you prefer, that's up to you. Personally, I think it's a decent price. It won't kill you, hopefully, but it's a decent product. It's a solid product. Size-wise, it's a little bit under 7 inches by a little bit under 4 inches, so it's perfect pocket size, especially in your back pocket, as I said. So Lochby Quattro, it's decent, it does the job, it fits comfortably, and it's the best thing I've found so far. But I am on a constant journey, looking for new things all the time. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you appreciated this review, and I like having these little chats. So if you enjoy this channel, please subscribe. I'd appreciate it. And you be along on this journey to see where we go. We go to some amazing places. I make new videos all the time, and I have a live show, 8 p.m. on Tuesdays, so don't miss that. So I can promise you one thing, we will see each other further up the road. So take care.